Hey everybody, Tony D with another Piney podcast. This one is about what else? The beer virus and how it's impacting South Jersey. Today, after 20 days of self-isolation, didn't have any symptoms or anything, I finally got out of the house to resupply. And my report is not too good, Pineys. What are you doing out there? You wear your mask, wear your gloves. I saw one person in my travels, and there were a lot of people out. A lot of people, Pineys. You're not doing well on this, okay? You should be wearing gloves. You should be wearing a mask. Let me tell you my travels. So, as I explained in my strategy yesterday, I was told that some of the produce stands in South Jersey along 73 weren't really getting any business, so, and they were open and they had stuff. So I figured, why not hit them? They're also open air, which, you know, helps because you got the breeze blowing in there. It's a lot harder, I think, to catch something if you're outside, basically. I mean, we were under a thing, but it's basically outside. The first thing was, there were kind of a lot of people there. I mean, not a lot. I mean, about as many as the Walgreens, which I also had to stop at. Meaning about a half dozen. Actually, there were a little more in the produce stand. It was like eight or nine. I saw one guy at the produce stand with a mask, but he was an older guy who clearly, yeah, he better wear that mask if he goes outside. But nobody else had one on. No, very few people had gloves. One clerk at the produce stand had gloves. I won't say which one it was. I mean, it's a good place, but and they have good stuff, and I bought a bunch of stuff. I was panic buying, I'll freely admit. I just kept putting stuff in my cart, not really thinking about it. I was surprised they didn't have things bagged already. A lot of stuff weren't bagged. I didn't want to touch anything that wasn't bagged. You know, I was tempted to get some tomatoes, but they're like all out on the table like they are normally, and I'm just thinking to myself, how many people picked up the tomato? You know, I'm trying to limit my exposure. So I got things in a bag. I got a bag of potatoes, a bag of carrots, a bag of, whatchamacallit, not the tangerines, the clementines. So, I mean, I got some stuff, and I got a bunch of other stuff too. Some stuff in a jar and things like that. They had things in containers. They had spinach in a container, although I think they probably just did that in the back. I was saying that when I got it out. I was like, oh, they probably just box this up themselves. So you know, my plan is to use a little soap with the water when I rinse it off. You know, the dishwashing liquid. I have this very light dishwashing liquid. So my hope is I'm not going to taste anything if I rinse it off really good. But I was really disappointed, Pineys. You are not, especially the people in the Walgreens. The people in the Walgreens, first off, they're barely social distancing. They're kind of doing it sort of in a half-ass way, like they've been doing it for a year and now they're sick of doing it. There was a couple in there, they came in, a couple of mouth breathers who just, oh, let's get a drink. Like they came in for a drink. It's not the time to go to Walgreens for a beverage. Okay, if you got to go to Walgreens for something, you get it, you get a bunch of it, so you don't have to keep going. You don't get one drink. Get a case of drinks and go home and drink them. This isn't normal times. These people don't think. No gloves. The only person in the Walgreens that had gloves was the clerk. She didn't have a mask on. I don't know why. If I was working at Walgreens, I would totally have a mask on. Absolutely. Now she, you know, kept rubbing her hands and doing the spray is on top of the gloves, but you know, no one seems to be taking it seriously. So I'm standing in line and not close. Obviously, I'm, you know, doing the 6 feet. The person behind me, not doing 6 feet, of course, a little too close. But I don't say anything. The woman ahead of me is like buying fish oil, but she's being smart about it. She's buying a lot of it, so she doesn't have to keep coming back to the damn store for every bottle. It's on sale too, which is part of the reason, but whatever. But she looks at me with mask and gloves, and then goes, oh, give me an extra bag. And the girl doesn't quite understand what she wants because she's not communicating. But she eventually sort of reaches over, you know, trying to maintain her distance, gets a bag on her hand, and then starts punching in her credit card or whatever she had. And I just thought, lady, you have had 3 weeks of this. You still don't have gloves. Everybody has gloves. Come on. You still don't have a scarf on your face. Nothing. People are so hard-headed. Why are you so hard-headed, Pineys? Why? It's just very frustrating to me. So, the news today is a mixed bag, as always. There were about 3,500 cases, new cases yesterday, which was a tick up of about 200. It went a little bit down back to around 3,300. So that's a hopeful sign. Now we've had 3 days around 3.5. So this could be plateauing finally. But you'll notice new cases. So we're not out of the woods yet. The governor is, in my view, panicking. Governor Murphy, he just announced he's going to close all the parks because yesterday we hit over 1,000 deaths, and then today it spiked up like 262 deaths. So we're like 1262 for deaths in New Jersey. Unfortunately, that was going to happen unless they're going to push the malaria drug hard, which I think seems to be a pretty good thing. I mean, again, you know, the malaria drug barely has any side effects. It's a well-known drug. It really can't hurt people. I don't know why they're not just making that a standard treatment now. The Z-Pack, there's some issues with people with heart problems, and keep in mind that people who are perishing, unfortunately, are elderly or have underlying health problems. So most of them, and perhaps the people who don't appear to probably do, but they were undiagnosed. I mean, that is possible. But so you need to, come on, Pineys, treat this seriously. Put a mask on if you go out, especially if you're going to a store. I understand if you're just driving around in your car and you hit the bank drive-in and this drive-in and that drive-in, fine. You don't really need a mask. You know, you don't really need gloves. I mean, you kind of do, but I can understand if you're doing a whole bunch of drive-thrus. You're going inside a store, you're breathing the same air as other people. You need to have a mask on. Just have the damn mask. It's going to cut down, at the very least, if you do get infected, it'll cut down on, as they call it, the viral load. And it should, at least if you get sick, hopefully you're not going to get very sick. And look, it shows that you're treating this somewhat seriously. We're going to have to open up things again. And if people aren't treating it seriously, these politicians are not going to open it, okay? Murphy is talking about another 30 days. I think he just issued another 30-day, I don't know what you call it, lockdown or quarantine. That's going to take us into May now. It's going to take us into the first week of May. So, not good. Now, New Jersey is a hot spot in the north. Obviously, things are very bad up there. So is New York. You could understand maybe those areas, certainly. Down in South Jersey, it's not as bad. My county, so far, is still under 600 cases. Last time I checked, I think we're about 561, something like that. Which, you know, for our hospital system in the county, that's something we can handle. That's being handled. That's not overloading the system by any stretch. But there's still a lot of cases out there that are undiagnosed. People are self-quarantined or they're not showing any symptoms. You know, I'm worried about myself. Yeah, I self-quarantined pretty early on. I probably definitely don't have it unless I got it unless this was hit in the United States way earlier than we know. Therefore I have no resistance, and I'm waiting for, you know, some more data to come out, hopefully a vaccine or whatever. Probably can't last in the house that long, but, you know, I don't want to be sick while the peak is here, obviously. So, I mean, if today's journey gets me sick, or one of my Amazon packages gets me sick, well, I'll have to deal with it then. Hopefully we're past the peak, and 2 weeks from now, if I get sick, it'll be, you know, the hospital won't be jam-packed full of people. Yeah, so, you know, a lot of people are out. I don't know what you're doing. I understand it sucks to stay in. Even I, who have a huge resistance to this stuff because I'm used to being in, I'm used to freelancing and spending weeks on in my house. You know, even I get annoyed and go, screw it, I'm gonna go to Starbucks or something and just get out of the house. I'm gonna walk to DOG and take her to someplace new, take her to a dog park or whatever. She's growling at the hole in the fence. You know, it's a small sacrifice in the scheme of things. You know, and it's not like you don't have entertainment. You have the internet, you have movies, you probably have cable TV. I disconnected mine, but you know, you have entertainment. So entertain yourself, exercise, do stuff around the house. If your house isn't immaculate and you're complaining you still need to get out, well, then you clearly are not doing what you should be doing. Go out and rake your lawn. Go out and assess the grass situation. And this is me saying it. I hate doing that stuff. I absolutely loathe doing yard work. You know, don't go out. Don't go out unless you have to, unless it's an emergency. If you're going out just to get, like, you know, one thing, that's not cool, okay? If you run out of mustard, you can live without mustard for a few days until your food supply gets a little low, and then you can go out and get your mustard with the other stuff you need. Don't go out for, like, one thing. You know, go out and do it all in one trip, and wear a mask and wear gloves. You know, the sanitizing, hand sanitizer stuff, you know, that does some good, but it's not the ideal thing. Soap and water's better, and you know, you got to treat this seriously. I see too many people out and about. I really do. I saw construction guys, and that really upset me. I mean, stay in, just stay in. We got a couple of weeks until the end of May. Hopefully by then we'll be down to a couple hundred cases at most a day, and by that time things will start opening up again, and or at least they'll be planning it, and people can make calls, get back to work. You know, don't give us another, you know, don't make the bump go back up. We need to squash this, and we've already made this commitment to, you know, a lot of people are saying on YouTube, this may not have been the best strategy. Maybe it would have been better just to let everybody get infected, to develop a resistance to it, because the hit to the economy may be worse. That may be true, but it's too late now. It's too late to back out of it now, so there's no point. We might as well apply this strategy as best we can, and then seriously plan to open up at the end of April. So I think South Jersey will be ready. There are some states that aren't even hit by this, so it's barely affecting them, which is good. So hopefully their economies are fine. New Jersey's going to take it on the chin for a while. South Jersey, you know, the economy here, it goes back and forth. You know, it was depressed for a while in my area, certainly during the Obama administration. For the last couple of years, it's really ticked up. More jobs, more money. So it may take a while to get that back. So let's nip this in the bud, and for God's sakes, if you have to go out, gloves, mask.